What if the man you once loved abandoned you, only to return years later, not for you, but for the son he left behind? Let's find out together. Hey guys, today we bring you another amazing Nigerian movie filled with drama and emotion. Trust me, you won't want to miss this one. But before we dive in, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more incredible stories from us. This movie begins in a supermarket where a woman named EB is on a phone call with her son, who keeps pressuring her for money. At the same time, she's attending to a bitterly complaining customer. A man named Hank offers her his business card, but she refuses it. It's against her work rules. After attending to the customer, EB steps outside to answer her son's call. As Hank is about to leave, something familiar about her catches his attention. Suddenly, he remembers. She's the woman he once pleaded with to let him see his son. But she had refused because he had abandoned both of them for many years. Hank rushes back to find her, but she's gone. Elsewhere, a young man named Eric, who is dating a girl named Fina, tries to persuade her to be patient with him. He pleads with her, but she walks away. He just can't meet her demands. On her way home, EB remembers her old friend Jasmine and flashes back to an argument they had years ago. Jasmine had an affair with Hank, EB's fiancé at the time. It ruined everything. EB kicked her out of her life forever. EB gets home to find the house in a mess. Her son has taken her TV to sell, and now his number isn't going through. Could her world fall apart twice by the same man and the same child? Meanwhile, Hank reflects on his past mistakes. His ex-wife had told him, "A man with a family has everything, but you have nothing." She took their son away from him, and Hank blames himself. Now, he wants one more chance. That night, EB's boyfriend breaks up with her. He discovers she lied about her age, and he's also uncomfortable with how much attention she gives to her grown son. He ends the call. EB is heartbroken. The next morning, Hank tells his doctor about EB. She works somewhere she doesn't even recognize him, but time is ticking. Hank is very ill and has little time left to live. His only wish? To reach EB and his son before it's too late. That same morning, EB is about to leave for work when her son walks in with his drunk girlfriend. She shows no respect. EB tries to caution her son, but he talks back. She lets him be and silently reflects on everything. At the supermarket, Eric storms in again, shouting and demanding money from his mother. He nearly starts a fight, but Hank steps in and stops him. Eric walks away. Hank shows EB a photo to confirm her identity, but she leaves as her manager calls her, only to fire her. Hank tries to speak with her, but she ignores him. Inside the tricycle, EB remembers her last conversation with Jasmine, where Jasmine warned her that Eric is becoming out of control. EB had dismissed her then, but now the memories haunt her. EB calls Jasmine in tears, apologizing and admitting that she has failed in raising her son. Jasmine promises to come and help. The next day, EB surprisingly doesn't scold Eric. Instead, she tells him she lost her job. She simply encourages him to be better. Eric opens up too. His girlfriend broke up with him. Days later, EB shows Eric the last cash they have. She tells him they might soon go hungry. Eric confesses that Fina pushed him to sell the TV just so he could get a tattoo. EB is hurt and tries to correct him. Eric regrets sharing that, and when she asks him to get a job to support her, he refuses, but insists a job will come soon. Wow, what a strong belief. That night, EB tries to convince him again that Fina is no good for him. But Eric shocks her. He believes he was the bad influence, not Fina. He says Fina's parents are richer and more stable than his mom. Then he ends the conversation and goes to bed. The next morning, EB scolds him for playing video games to get over heartbreak. He talks back again, saying she doesn't understand him. Just then, Jasmine, who had been knocking, walks in. She greets Eric, now a grown man, but he walks out. EB welcomes Jasmine and breaks down, explaining all the things Eric has done and how it has cost her. Jasmine reminds her of what she once said, that she could raise her son alone. But now EB confesses she needs help. She begs Jasmine to visit more often. Jasmine agrees, but says it may take time. The next day in the kitchen, Jasmine guesses that Fina inspired Eric's tattoo. She expresses her disapproval. EB comes in with good news. She has a job interview. Jasmine is happy for her, but Eric, once again, throws in a painful line. If you had welcomed me this way earlier, maybe things would have been better. Then he walks out. Jasmine now fully understands EB's pain, but tells her not to worry. What will happen when Eric finds out the dying man trying to reach them is the father he never knew? Will EB allow Hank one final chance, or will she let time run out? That same day, EB was about to pay the driver who brought her to her destination, only to realize that her money had been stolen by her son. She explained to the driver, but he wouldn't listen. Out of options, she called Hank, who asked her to come over and gave directions to his place. She went. At Hank's place, EB pleaded with him to help her secure a job in a company. But because she refused to bring Eric to see him, Hank also refused to help. EB left in disappointment. Back at home, Jasmine helped Eric reconcile with Fina, and they toasted to their reunion. When EB returned and saw the gathering, she became furious and chased Fina out. Eric left with Fina, ignoring his mother's calls. EB was angry and scolded Jasmine. She also mentioned visiting Eric's father and asked for advice before walking out. That night, after forgetting to take his medication, Hank spoke with his doctor about EB and his attempts to reach his son. He ended the call, now doubting whether he had handled things correctly. Still, he comforted himself with the thought that he had made the right choice. Days passed, and EB hadn't seen her son for 3 days. She was deeply worried. Jasmine advised her to be patient and gentle with Eric, but this led to a heated argument. EB brought up the old betrayal, Jasmine sleeping with Hank years ago. Hurt, Jasmine stood to leave, but EB pleaded with her to stay. She admitted she needed help. Moments later, Fina rushed in with news that Eric was in police custody after a fight with her ex-boyfriend. EB was devastated. Later on, Jasmine went to see Hank. She introduced herself and told him Eric was in jail and needed help. But Hank refused, saying he would only get involved if EB brought Eric to him. Jasmine left. When EB told Jasmine that Hank had ignored her plea, Jasmine reminded her of how hard she had been on him. EB insisted she was right. Shortly after, Eric returned, thanked Jasmine for helping him, and expressed disappointment in his mother. He then left to meet Fina. EB was crushed by what Jasmine had done. Was Jasmine wrong to go behind EB's back, or was she doing what EB couldn't? And for EB, is denying your son his father a wise choice or a costly mistake? Days later, EB scolded Jasmine, who was beginning to see potential in Eric. Jasmine tried to help EB see the bigger picture, but EB kept dragging up the past. She even told Jasmine to stop mentoring Eric, but Jasmine refused. She was committed to helping him reach his future. As they argued, Eric overheard and discovered they had known about his father all along. Angry, he stormed out. Is there ever a good reason to deprive a son of his father, especially one who's wealthy and full of regret? In the kitchen, while Jasmine was preparing lunch, Eric walked in. They had a short conversation where she encouraged him to think beyond the present and care for those who truly love him. But deep down, Eric just wished his mother would understand him. Days later, Hank's doctor visited and suggested he adopt a child to carry on his legacy, but Hank refused. Not long after EB arrived, Hank asked about his son, and soon Eric came in. When he was introduced to Hank as his father, Eric was shocked. Hank pleaded for a chance to be part of his life now that they still had time. He also thanked EB for allowing him to see his son. Jasmine arrived, and though EB wasn't happy about it, Hank urged them all to enjoy the moment. They could deal with their issues later. Eric expressed to his mother how deeply hurt he was by everything she had kept from him. He asked to be allowed to be his own man, and thanked Jasmine for helping him see the light. Hank was happy and took Eric around the house with Jasmine following. That night, EB wanted to leave, but Eric refused. He didn't want to leave the luxury behind and go back to struggling. Hank, impressed by Eric's confidence, complimented him. Jasmine also shared an idea she and Eric had come up with, one that could transform Hank's company. Hank was amazed by their teamwork and insisted that EB stay. To one person, this is progress. To another, it's a threat. But should we choose our children's future over our past pain? Later in the room, EB was uneasy. She was overwhelmed with fear and negativity, especially concerning her son. Jasmine encouraged her to let go and allow her son to grow. Bit by bit, she believed Eric would become better. That same day, Hank visited his son. Eric made it clear he couldn't just forgive him so easily, but Hank understood. He told Eric, "I just want to be part of your future, since the past can't be changed." The next day, Eric and Fina went out, driving a car Hank gave him. They had a good time together. Meanwhile, EB started speaking negatively about Eric's exposure to luxury. But Hank called her aside and showed her the hundreds of messages he had sent to her email, none of which she ever responded to. He told her he wanted to make things right, not just for them, but to make sure Eric doesn't end up repeating the mistakes of the past. What's your take? Should forgiveness be instant when a parent returns after years of absence? Or must trust be earned one day at a time? Let us know in the comments as we see what unfolds next. One day, Hank spoke with his doctor about his worsening health symptoms. He insisted that no one, not even his family, should know about his condition. Later, Eric introduced his girlfriend to his father, who wanted to show him some important documents regarding his legacy. But Eric made an excuse and left. EB overheard and was disappointed, but Hank persuaded her to give Eric space and that they should guide him together instead of forcing him. The next day, Jasmine visited Hank at the office and shared a powerful business idea aligned with the company's vision. Shortly after, Eric came in late for a scheduled meeting with his father. But once again, he left early because his girlfriend needed him. Jasmine observed that Eric lacked direction, and Hank promised to give her feedback on how they could help him as time went by. One day, Jasmine was working on a project when Eric showed up and began flirting with her. But Jasmine quickly redirected his attention to work and reminded him she was only there to mentor him. On another day, while they were working on a project together, Eric confessed his feelings to Jasmine. She was shocked but remained calm, urging him to stay focused on building his future. Guys, what do you think? Is Eric making a wise choice trying to date a woman old enough to be his mother? Will EB ever accept it? Drop your thoughts below. We'd love to hear your perspective. The next day, Eric told Fina about his feelings for Jasmine. He showed no remorse. Fina insulted him, accusing Jasmine of manipulating him. But Eric stood his ground and broke up with her. Fina left in anger. Another day, EB confronted Jasmine, accusing her of sleeping with her son. Jasmine tried to explain that Eric had come to her, and although she had started developing feelings for him too, she never slept with Eric or Hank. She remained committed to their agreement to keep things professional. Shortly after, Eric also spoke to his mother about his love for Jasmine, but once again, EB refused to accept the idea. At the office, Hank began mentoring Eric more closely, teaching him how to manage and maintain the family company. Eric slowly began familiarizing himself with the business operations, but EB was still bitter toward Jasmine. She went to Hank and demanded that Jasmine stop coming to their house. Hank reminded her how valuable Jasmine was to the company, but EB didn't care. Her mind was clouded by the idea of Jasmine dating her son. One night, Fina confronted Jasmine on the road. They exchanged harsh words, but Jasmine calmly admitted her feelings for Eric and told Fina to let them be. They went their separate ways. Later that evening, Jasmine sat with Hank and opened up. She shared that she had been alone for years since her first heartbreak. She expressed genuine love and care for Eric and said she would walk away if necessary, even if it meant being heartbroken again. Can love survive judgment, especially when it comes from the one who should understand the most? That same night, Hank had a heartfelt talk with EB, who was still upset about Jasmine. He reminded her, "It's not about you, it's about the legacy we're leaving behind." Then, Hank gave up the ghost, leaving EB in deep sorrow and regret. The next morning, the doctor broke the news about Eric's father's illness, a condition that could not be cured. He reminded them of Hank's instructions that no one must know about it. Jasmine consoled Eric, and when EB arrived, she asked Jasmine to leave because she wanted to have some time alone with her son. Jasmine left with the doctor. Outside, the doctor told Jasmine to give them space and advised her to put everything that happened before Hank's death behind her. He said that after the burial and when the will is read, they would know what next to do. He also advised her to only come around when Eric needs her or to speak to him over the phone. Then they left. After Mr. Hank's burial, the lawyer, barista, responsible for the will arrived and opened the document in front of EB, Eric, and Jasmine. He began to read the contents. Hank had left the company and his estate under Jasmine's management. She was to collaborate with Eric, based on mutual understanding, to run the company. EB disagreed with this and asked what was going on. But the lawyer and the doctor explained that Hank believed in Jasmine's capacity and loyalty, which is why he trusted her to work with Eric to protect and continue his legacy. They urged EB to respect Hank's final wishes. In her room, EB went through old pictures of herself and Hank. Eric came in to try to make her see reason. He told her that Jasmine had done a lot for him and had helped change him for the better, and that she truly deserved a place in their lives. But EB refused to listen. Meanwhile, Jasmine, looking through Hank's pictures, told EB that she genuinely cared for Eric and the company. But all EB could see was a woman tearing her family apart. EB insisted that Jasmine should leave, but Jasmine refused. She was determined to honor Hank's wishes. Later, EB had a meeting with the lawyer and the doctor. She expressed her own perspective, accusing Jasmine of manipulating her son and being a threat to the family's peace. But both the lawyer and doctor encouraged her to see the bigger picture. Yet she still refused to accept their reasoning. Back in the room, Eric spoke to his mother about his decision to move forward with the company plans, even without her support. But she was still afraid to let go. Frustrated, Eric walked out. He met Jasmine outside, sounding discouraged and defeated. She reassured him. Later, in the living room, Jasmine and Eric came in together in the presence of the lawyer and the doctor. EB strongly disapproved of their working relationship and future together. She dismissed everything they said, including their intentions to marry, as trivial. However, the lawyer gave a final remark, sharing how Mr. Hank had spoken highly of Jasmine and how he believed in the future of both Eric and Jasmine, not just as business partners, but as a family. Slowly, EB began to reflect. After some time, EB invited the lawyer and the doctor for a celebration, appreciating how well the company was doing under Jasmine's leadership. She used the opportunity to thank Jasmine and officially welcomed her into the family, saying that she had earned her trust. They all shared the moment together in happiness and unity. The moral lesson of this movie is, sometimes pain blinds us from seeing the people who are truly for us. Letting go of the past and embracing those who genuinely care can bring healing, peace, and purpose. Forgiveness opens the door to unity, growth, and lasting legacy. Thanks for watching, guys. Please don't forget to subscribe for more popular and amazing Nigerian movies from us. Till we meet again, bye!